Hello my friends, welcome to this quick Corki guide. I will explain you everything that you need from runes, items, mechanics, like whatever you need. I was a full-time pro player, peak challenger in every single season the last 3 to 4 years, and let's get straight into it. So the first thing is itemization. Usually on Corki we have one build that we are currently going. Of course, it always depends on the patch, right? So the first thing is that we usually get our tier in early game. Then the first item is Triforce. When we get Triforce, we have 3 components. Usually, it's really dependent on the lane you're playing. Let's say, for example, you're playing like short trades, like Q auto attack or something. Then Sheen can usually be good. If you want like raw stats to fight the enemy, then Phage is a thing, and the X can also be a thing. But then I would just advise you to go Phage. And then after finishing your Triforce, we just always go Man Immune. Boots, it always depends. There are a lot of options you can go. Like it's either Mercs, Tarbis, or the Swifties, in my opinion. Like one of these 3 you can potentially get. Like when the enemies have a lot of AD damage, right? Like Steel Caps just makes sense. Yeah, and then on third item, we have some variations. So a lot of people go Collector. I think this is really good if enemies have low armor and you are like really far ahead and really accelerated. Then you can go Collector and then buy Infinity Edge, which is like pretty good, right? If you want a more scaling build, which in my opinion is always better, I would advise you to go Hex Optics on 3 and then follow it up by Infinity Edge, or if you need the armor penetration, obviously LDR. Then there's one more niche build kinda. It's if you want to be a bit more beefy. There's Spear of Sojourn you can buy as like third item, followed up by Black Cleaver, and now you are like really tanky, but you don't have that much damage. This was also played in LCK. If you want, just feel free to try this one out, and aside from that, that's it regarding builds, so pretty simple. Then when it comes to skill order, you can usually start like any spell basically level 1, always depending on the situation, of course. Like if you want to get all in level 1 and you can like hit the enemy really hard, then usually your E is the best. If you just want to short trade or like clear wave, then starting Q is probably better. Then we always max our Q first, followed up by our E, followed up by our W, and ultimate you always skill whenever you can. And now what's really important to understand is Corki's passive first. So Corki's attacks and spell blades deal 20% bonus true damage. You can see it here. Right, really important. And then Q is like simply a bomb we are throwing, like nothing special. Yo, Valkyrie is really important, okay? So we can already see here, I'm level 80 now, okay? I have a lot of items, but you see up to 844 damage, right? So if I W, it's actually dealing a lot of damage. So in lane, you can often use your W to simply burn the enemies and just do a lot of damage. Like people always underrate this, but I think it's really broken to use this, like especially on CC. Let's say you have Nautilus Hook or something, then you can just W and then do your full combo. Okay, next spell E is super important. It's like a Gatling gun. It doesn't really matter, but it actually shreds armor and magic resist. So let's say, for example, this target dummy, it has 30 MR and 30 armor. If I E now, you will see it goes up to like 4 stacks, and it's actually shredding armor and magic resist. Of course, there's like Black Cleaver now as well, but it's actually shredding armor and magic resist by 20 on level 5, which is really broken. Always use your E when fighting. And now really important when it comes to Corki's ultimate, so you're basically having these rockets and you can always threshold 4 rockets. So usually, especially when base or when you have like nothing to do, then you usually want to have like 2 big rockets in the back, So now if I'm fighting, I would have like a big rocket, and now the next time I can just cycle my ultis again. So really important, for example, let's say you go base and you have like 4 cycles ready, then you can just cycle through one time and then go out of base. And by this, then, whenever you're getting to lane, bam, let's say you get here, okay, nice, I have my big rocket ready. And then when it comes to summoner spells, you always take flash, and then secondary summoner spell is like always adaptable, you can go TP, exhaust, cleanse, like barrier, whatever you need. And then when it comes down to like combos of what we want to do, there's like not a lot on Corki, So always we are using like most of the time our E before like fighting, you can like space really good with this. And then when it comes to combos, like usually on CC, as already mentioned before, we are using like our W Q ult combo. What we can do if we want to like really min-max our damage really hard, like let's say we only have Triforce in lane now, then we can obviously play on our Triforce decks. So every single time our Triforce is getting up, we can use our spell again. Like this, for example. But usually it's just Q auto combinations, right? It's really important whenever you're playing like a spellcaster 80, let's say it like this, that you are like not like this, you Q, E, ult, W. No, this is really bad. What you should do is like auto Q, auto ult, auto ult, auto E, auto W, you know, that you always squeeze in some autos so you just maximize your damage. And honestly, that's already it regarding Corki. Like the champion design is like really, really simple. I think this champion is like super good, especially with like good combinations like Nami, for example, and Engage like Nautilus on support, and also a really good starter AD carry. So when you're just getting used to like playing AD carries, I would highly advise you to play this champion. It's also really good on high competitive play. And that's it. If you found this helpful, feel free to check out my coaching Discord or my Patreon. And if you have any questions regarding League, just feel free to shoot me a DM, and I'm wishing you a nice day. Goodbye.